Hi everyone, I'm Tina with Gems, Paper, Scissors. I am doing some limes today because normally this would be one of my local open crop days. But as with the rest of the world, or a good portion of the world, I am in a stay-at-home state and we are doing social distancing, trying to be responsible human beings. So I'm going to do this live now, mostly covering scrapbooking, and then I'll probably do a gift card thing. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and just get started. It's going to be a little chatty because typically that's how my social crops are. And so without further ado, I'm just kind of going to putter today. And you're welcome to chime in. I have this live streaming to both YouTube and Facebook. So if you don't see the comments popping up that I'm answering, that is why. So I'm going to quickly reach across and grab my messy mat off of its peg. There we go. Since I'm going to have a little bit of a mess here. So let's see here. I'm going to use the French vanilla. And this particular layout is pretty good for, up to 4 3x4 photos and a couple of 4x6s with a title and journaling for a 2-page layout. So I'm going to use my espresso and quickly distress some of my paper. Not a lot. I mean, this is just a really super easy layout. This particular piece of cardstock is 2.5 inches by 12. And let's see here. Find my tape runner. I'm going to just put this across the top. I use a lot of adhesive in my layouts because I want them to last for ages and ages and ages. So I'm just going to put that across the top. And then this particular layout just kind of is flat. So I'm going to see about adding some gold shimmer trim. So that's what this is. I like it. It's fast. The hardest part is getting the backing off because this is a double-sided tape. But with practice, it gets easier. I'll even show you a trick today on how I do it. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just what works really well for me. So what I tend to do is I take a piece of scrap paper, and really any scrap paper works for this. So then I just put some adhesive on, get it nice and thick and sticky, and stick down part of it, making sure part of that is on a corner. And then peel it up, and it separates very, very easily. I used to fight with holding it and trying to do it just in my hands normally, and I'd spend what felt like forever. And it just truly used to make me very frustrated, and so I stopped doing it that way and found better, faster ways. And so I like sharing those little tips. If you come in during this video, please feel free to say hi. If you've got any questions, of course, I will answer them as soon as I spot them, but that's way up in my upper right-hand corner. And I'm kind of just crafting away. So I'm not going to add any of my photos today because I am still playing with deciding what I want. And part of that is I inherited the job with my cousin to go through and really figure out how to save photos, digitize a whole bunch of photos. And a while back, both of my grandparents on my paternal side passed away, and so we have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of family photos being digitized. And some of them are old. Some of them date back to probably 1880, 1890. So when I say old, I mean really old. And so it's a work in progress. There's a lot of photos involved. And so those that need repair, I'm working on that slowly. I'm working on passing the files throughout the family so that others can look at them and determine who people are or give the story behind the photo, because I don't know. My cousin doesn't know them. Heck, some of them my father doesn't know. So it's a work in progress, and not all of the photos are something that I would share here online, because this is a public venue, and some of them are just private family photos. Not everybody wants our photos shared on the internet. And so I'm going to respect that. And some of them are more modern photos that I am going to work in a photo editor and change the coloring to either black and white or a sepia tone, which would also work really well with this entire product line. But really, I'm just kind of playing with you here as if this was a normal come and craft with me day. Obviously, if the media allows you to share photos of what you're working on, I would love to see what you're working on. If the media doesn't, and you can IM me or shoot me an email, I would be thrilled to share your photos and your stories if you're willing to share them on my blog or in a full story on Facebook or in my newsletter. My next newsletter comes out on April 7th. And I always have a tricolor challenge. I have several crafting projects that you don't have to use the products that I showcase, but that I enjoyed making. Some of them are current products, some of it's expired or retired products, but mostly it's about getting my craft on and remembering why I do this. So this side I'm going to put a title down below, a 4x6 and a 3x4 and a 3x4 photo without matting, and then I'll crown it, the 4x6 photo here, with this piece of zip strip. On the other side, which is reversed because of, video challenges. Anyways, this side is going to probably be stamped something like yesterday and today. It depends on if I find good photos of the past and think current of like my uncles and my father or other family members. It may not be titled that. I don't know. We're playing with this. But this one's going to be every family has a story. And I truly, truly believe that. Whether you're still connected with your family or not, every family has a story. So this is a 4x6 spot. And then on this side, I'm putting this piece of French vanilla down, and it's going to be a journaling spot. And once I place a photo here, I'll crown it like that. Here, let me swap these so you kind of get a better feel for this scrapbook layout. So that's kind of the feel. Once I've got the photos picked out, I will add flourishes. I might hop onto my Cricut and print out photo frames or brackets or flourishes, or I may go on ahead and use our stamp of the month, which is really nice. It's actually what I'm going to be using for my titling. And for, I don't know, I've got all kinds of scraps laying around here. Got some wood chips. I've got some Picture My Life cards for this set, which is, by the way, this set is the Yesterday and Today set. And I really am in love with it. People are complaining, oh, I don't do heritage photos. I don't do memory making of history. I don't have any antique old photos. It doesn't matter. You can go on ahead and change the color palette of photos. Oh, see, this would be really nice to photo up with my journal here. I may trim that down just a little, like so, and see how I like that. Again, it depends on the photos I ultimately pick. So I have lots of options with this set. And if I want to veer out of the browns and grays, which are some of my favorite scrapbooking colors, they're very versatile, then I can go ahead and mix these colors with something like the eggplant or a nice gold rush. Sapphire would be gorgeous. Any of our vibrant pinks like the raspberry or pixie. This would all be fantastic with this. So time will tell as to what I ultimately choose based off of the photos that I end up being able to print off for this. And this is the paper pack I'm using all day. I also have some metallic little flourishes. I'm hoping that I can catch enough of oh, yep, see, you can see the reflection. It's very metallic-y, and it's just chipboard. It pops out. They're all die cut. So lots of really fun options here. I could add some photo hinges. I could use keys and locks and more flourishes. I have the stamp and thin cut set that I can go ahead and add the flower that's kind of stitched feeling, the fleur-de-lis type of there's all kinds of things. This is a really fun, simple set that even if you don't do heritage photos or grayscale or even sepia, I do photo challenges occasionally, and the last time I did a black and white photo challenge, it was super fun. Every day, you just took everyday photos. So I like doing it in the spring, late spring, early summer when trees are in blossom and things are just really crisp. And one of my favorites was a black and white of my chickens in the hen house and in the hen yard, just scritching away, doing their thing. So, and I also have some vellum and, of course, more stickers and more in the way of the paper pack because I bought several sets of this because, again, it's one of my favorites. If you hear or see my dogs going through, welcome to my day. In some ways, this is easier because people with allergies don't have to battle it with my dogs. And so, that's the first simple 2-card page layout. I'll set that aside and pull out the next step. So give me just a second. Let's see, how are we doing on time? We're only at 15 minutes. That's pretty good. At least for me rambling along, right? Let's see. Okay, the next 2 pages I am going to do, and I could have gone on ahead and placed my photo saving spots. I don't really feel that that's necessary because I make notes of my layouts as I prep them. So I'm going to use this gorgeous, gorgeous Damascus antiqued faded layout. I'm going to do 2, but because my space is, of course, limited, if I want to keep track of my materials. So let's see here. I have this really nice, I've got 2 sheets of the linen paper. So I'm going to do a simple tear off of both of these. So one's going to be, the darker is going to be on the bottom and the lighter will be on top. But we'll get a really nice effect by doing this tear. Some people have a real hard time tearing their paper. I am not one of them. I'm like, even super pretty paper, it's only paper. It's there to do a job. It makes my pieces pop or not. And even my most expensive paper is cheap. It's only paper. So I really try and encourage people to work through this concept of the value of your materials. Now again, I'm going to tear the lighter side this round so that I've got a mild little contrast. If you are catching this on the replay, feel free to still leave comments, and as I see them, I will happily reply to you. Oh, there's one tape roller down. I have a bunch of partials from a workshop that I led a bit ago before all of the world went very crazy and challenging. I hope that with the COVID-19 challenges that everybody is still successfully enjoying their days, hopefully still able to work even if it's in an altered form. I have been absolutely working crazy mad. My Monday through Friday job that I'm also very passionate about is I run an in-home childcare, and I am one of a very limited number of state approved and licensed emergency providers. So I am working extra long hours and extra days providing care for our first responders. And although it is fantastic, and I do not regret it at all, it is also incredibly exhausting. I'm taking temperatures every hour. I'm sanitizing everything that these small humans come into contact every hour and changing environments. I am working with a slightly limited staff because of risk to medically fragile staff. And as with many, many people, we are working on limited supplies due to grocery store outages and just general crazy land stuff. And I do not begrudge it, but it is making life a different kind of adventure than I usually have, just like everybody else. So let's see here. How do I want to go about this? So I have this cut envelope and it's already scored. I'm going to fold this up and about, and going ahead and tape that down. Let's see how this works. And then I have this really cute striped die cut that I'm going to insert and tape down. There's that. Then we'll tape this down, which is the top flap. Not quite positive why it was cut separately, other than, I get it, because they wanted the texture on both sides. And I noticed that I got some adhesive where I did not want it, but that's okay. I have my rub eraser handy to tidy up my sticky mess. It is one of my favorite go-to tools is this rub and erase marker. It removes ink, it removes adhesive. It just is a fantastic, fantastic tool. So I think I'm going to aim for something of this nature. And this is going to have my journaling behind my mat with my photo. I'll have to play with that and see how I ultimately want it. But I have my earth brown marker, and I think I'm going to go ahead and use this to darken and check how I like the different shades on the back side. Ooh, that's dark. So I think I'm going to actually run with the lighter shade. It kind of gives a deeper red tone. So I'm just going to quickly hand color my wood chips that I'm going to be using on this layout. make it have a nice older antiqued feel. I could use my ink pads, and I still may, not necessarily on this particular piece, but you never know. And I'm going to just basically soft mark where I want things and see how I like it. This particular page, I'll end up using a 4x6 photo right here and then journal. And this particular layout may be I might use this for my mother's family because, as many of you know, I lost my maternal grandmother last month, and at the very, very end of last month. It had been a really long, challenging time. So I ended up taking some personal time from crafting and did some journaling and looked at photos so that once I was ready to scrapbook, I could. And some of those photos I got stories from my grandmother shortly before she passed. And some of them I had already collected. So it's always an adventure. It's always interesting to see how we come up with our family history, our family stories, and how just it all interconnects. So kind of getting a feel for how this might play out. I'm going to go ahead and use a bracket story there so that I can title this. I'll probably title it with my grandmother's name, add flowers and leaves, and a nice bouquet towards the bottom. Let's see here. It's just laying out, rearranging until I'm really happy with how this lands. I'm going to bend up my butterfly a little and see if I can grab a hold of my gold shimmer brush. Always shake it before you use it. And I'm not actually going to add a lot of shimmer, just a tiny little hint, so that as the page gets turned, it will catch little glimpses of sparkle and shine. There. I'll go ahead and put that up above. Something like that. I have some pearls that I'll accent with, although I might change my pearls. I probably have in my stash that we all seem to have some. I could use some gold gems. I could use some silver, although I don't really like that one. I don't know. It'll come to me. I just think the white pearls on the linen is maybe a little too flat. I might have some other other pearls stashed aside. I'll tuck some here and there. But I'm really going to build this up because dimension is what makes a scrapbook page really intriguing and invokes a lot of emotion and joy and memories. I mean, this is all about, oh, that's kind of nice. I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes and see how I like that. If I like it, I'm going to leave it, and during the break, I'll probably start picking out some photos because I don't want these to shift too much before I adhere everything down. Today I'm drinking a very light coffee. So I'm not doing a bunch of inking up, although I do have my handy dandy salt cellar with my stamp chamois already moistened and ready to craft with, because we're going to definitely be using this later today. And I'll remember to add a little paper trash bag nearby for my little scraps of tear-offs and such. So I'm hoping that everybody can actually hear me. I have my mic not actually attached to me today because I don't know how much I'm going to be moving around, to be honest. So typically on a open craft crappy day like today, I'm up and down. I'm getting my crock pot going, and I'm just thoroughly doing my day. And I think I'm going to do just like I did on the other side and do my hair with my lighter and my darker. So I could go over this with espresso or even coffee ink. I'm not going to. It gives it more of an antique feel. I'm not 100% positive that I'm actually going to antique most of this, or if I'm even going to use truly antique photos versus photos that I have converted into a sepia tone, which is quite striking. As I was saying, try not to limit yourself with, I'm only using older photos. Pull out your creative hat and see how things land. You may find that changing a photo of you and your children or grandchildren or nieces and nephews or your favorite dogs or cats or even a trip to the beach would be more dynamic if you converted the color palette. We are in an age of technology, and we are only limited by our imaginations and not even so much by supplies and materials. I really keep almost a ridiculously low amount of supplies. Stamps, I go through my paper. So I tend to buy a lot at one time. So like this yesterday and today paper pack, I chose to, what did I do with my stamps? I chose to, this would work. I chose to buy several packages going, oh, I know that some people will be off put by that, going, hey, you only have this many pieces of paper in a pack, but they're all the same. And again, I can see that, but on the other hand, I'm a crafty gal, and I can completely say, hey, just because I have espresso and linen and mink and toffee and French vanilla tones in this paper pack, and that's what close to my heart suggests pairing it with, that doesn't mean that I'm limited to this. I'm going to quickly stand up long enough to grab a piece of paper or two just to illustrate my point. And hopefully things don't go crashing because I have a very, very small workspace. Many crafters have huge spaces. I am not one of them. All of my supplies are on a simple little 9-inch deep by 2.5 foot wide shelf. I have 3 shelves that way, and then I have a 2 foot by 1 foot shelf for my paper, and one more shelf like that for my Cricut, and that is it. That's all of my space to store. So just by pulling out this piece of raspberry, and you see how dynamic that can be. Now, I don't really like it with the sepia toned little peachy flowers, but if I reach across and grab my little card paper sampler thing, if I go to something like eggplant, which a lot of people aren't into purple, I get that. I am. But again, if I slide that under, that still has an older feel, but it could be this could turn in from an antique family genealogy page into I went to the park or a garden or something more modern and intense and part of your daily life. So again, try not to lock too much into this theme of heritage and genealogy, and really go into your time together and your good times and how much you love your life. Okay. Especially while so many people are scared and anxious and maybe not feeling well or getting bored or whatever is going on in your life. Is take those photos and make those memories important and document them, because before too long you forget. So that's my suggestion. Take it for what you will. Let's see. I think that's kind of pretty. So, and again, I just start laying things down, see where they land, see how I like them. I'll move this up a little. I don't really need a ton of space up top because I really want this envelope down here with a journaling spot down here. I'll end up putting a photo here and here, and add another butterfly or two. So, again, just try it out. If you get to a point and you're just going, I really need more flowers or more leaves, you can that'll be nice. You can always grab a few of these because we've got a whole bunch that we didn't attach down yet for this very purpose. It's the let's experiment and see how we like it. I'm going to still color up these 2 butterflies and bend them up a little. And when I lay these down, I'm going to use some 3D foam tape. Again, shake up your shimmer pens because they settle and they separate, and you just really want a nice solid layout. And again, I am not coloring this with the pen in any particular way. I'm just kind of sloshing some on, not a bunch, just enough so that when the page turns and the light catches it, that it just has a little extra wow factor. And if you get some where you don't want it, it's not a big deal. Just means it may not be what you wanted, but it's exactly what you needed. Enjoy it. Control what you can and let go of the rest. I'm going to go ahead and color this in. I think I really, really liked the darkness that I used on the other page. So I'm going to run with the dark again. And I'm going to actually do it over this. If I ended up slipping, I haven't adhered that French vanilla, I can always turn it over. I seem to be crafting all by myself. How sad. That's okay. You're probably catching this on the replay, and that is okay. One of the fantastic things about doing online versus in person is it can fit your schedule and mine. So I strongly encourage sending cards at this time. It has been shown in studies that although the virus can live on cardboard for, I think it's a day or two, maybe even 3. I think it's plastic that's 3 and cardboard's a day. You can also spritz your card, your mail with a sanitizing solution. You can leave it in the, typically, the U.S. Postal Service has determined that it's fairly safe. They have had a few carriers here in the U.S. that have been tested positive. So I wish them well as those that came into contact with them. But the virus lives on paper, according to the latest studies that were released 2 days ago, that it lives on paper for only 3 hours. So if you wait until about 3 hours after your postal carrier delivers, you are relatively safe from transmitting or catching the virus from your mail. And I don't know about you, but we are spending so much time on screen and feeling isolated and alone that, truth be told, making a card and doing the old-fashioned I wrote you a letter seems really encouraging and helps my spirits in making it as well as sending it. I haven't received much mail yet, and I'm not sure if I will, and I'm okay with that either way. So this layout is much harder. So there's these cutouts that came, and you need a quilling pen or a pointy stick to curl them up and make your flower. And you roll it and roll it and roll it and roll it until you get to the space, and then you adhere it down. I use a glue dot to do that. I'm going to see if I actually planned ahead and have my quilling tool in my box of tricks. I doubt it. I have my piercing tool. It'll work. It's not as nice and convenient, but it does work. In fact, I'm not going to do all of this layout because of this, though, because it is more of a bother. So you just start rolling it up, and you go and go and go until you get to the middle. So I have nobody watching me still. So, as you can see though, it's starting to form this little flower. And you really want to try and keep it from expanding. And this is where a cooling tool really comes in handy because it holds on to the paper as you roll it. So you slide it into the tool, and as you roll it, it just keeps going with it, and it keeps that centerpiece from jiggling a little too much. I'm getting close to the end of this particular flower. So I'm going to get my glue dot handy. That one's a little bigger than I would necessarily use, but I'm not going to open my other glue dots right now. So you can use a piercing tool. Typically, I like using my scissors best because they are non-stick. But this is me being live and real, as I don't always get it together real well. So there, as you can see, is my little flower. And I will probably take a spray pen, maybe. I might take a spray pen and mix some ibuprofen alcohol and some espresso re-inker. Or I could, I don't know. We'll see. I'll play with it. My space is getting messier by the second, just like we all have. I hope that one's clear. Where did I put down my gold? So I could have inked this beforehand, but I really didn't think about it. So using a shimmer pen brush that I've shaken, and I occasionally am squeezing to make it juicy. Oh, that's kind of cool looking. That's a nice little side effect. Can you see that? I think that'll be really nice on that. So anyways, that's you've gotten the idea of these particular layouts. If you hop online, this particular entire layout, I'm literally just looking at pictures and using the yesterday and today's scrapbooking workshop. I'm not following it real well because that's not who I am. In case you haven't figured that out by now. So, but I'm kind of ready to take a break from layouts, and I've shown you 2 complete ones and the start of a third. So I have upheld my stated goal and purpose. I am going to show you something non-scrapbook related. Here, let me move that out of the way and open up some space. So I'm going to show you how to make this super cool gift card. And this is not my idea. It is my interpretation of this idea. I used the current mix-in paper and canary and black and white and glacier. I also used let's see here. I used the Stampin' Thin Cuts of the Country Bee from our current catalog, I believe. If not, I'm sorry. And then I really liked the Life is a Journey stamp set for the sentiments, but honestly, any stamp set, any paper, any little embellishment works. I've seen this particular card done using the dragonfly. I've seen it using a completely different company stamp with the little old lady, the silly old sisters kind of gals. I've seen it with a clown. I've seen it. The sky's the limit. Again, this isn't about buying product. This is about using your stash. And if you happen to love mine and you happen to hop on to my TinaBS at closetomyheart.com page to order, fantastic. If not, great. But this is a super cool gift card holder. So I'm going to quickly walk you through it. I've already pre-cut everything. If you want the cutting guide, please leave me a comment or IM me or shoot me an email at creativeguru@gemspaperscissors. I have been given permission to share this with my customers and clients. So anyways, I used, by the way, this is not a real gift card. It's I run an in-home daycare, so I'm working extra hours with frontline staff, and so this is part of our grocery store gift cards, and I just glued it on. Anyway, so how to make this card? It's pretty quick, pretty easy, and not as many materials as one would think. The one thing that I really cannot press any harder is you really need like a book binding strong adhesive, because a standard tape roller is not even close to strong enough. So for this particular card, it's super easy. You can use a corner rounder or a thumb punch and just cut out. Again, I will be happy to share the dimensions with you upon request. So I'm going to go with the lighter side this time. And I've already pre-scored this, so this should be fairly fast. And this is about the hardest part coming up, and that is making sure that your plastic bag that you cut up, and yeah, this is just a cut piece of paper bag plastic, the bags that our cardstock comes in, cut down, and this is the track that it's going to run on. So once you've got your base prepped, you see how I'm lining this up into the guide. And I'm going to use a super strong adhesive because this is a moving piece and it's plastic. So a lot of adhesive doesn't like to stay put. It gets persnickety. And so I press it on really well because I don't want this to move at the way wrong time. It would make me very sad. And again, this is kind of bother to lift off and separate, but it's really worth the effort. So, and you're going to want to do this almost loose so that it can glide, but not so loose that it slides off of its track. Okay. So that's part of the tricky part. Now I'm going to quickly stamp my sentiments and my B. Again, this does not have to be this particular sentiment. It does not have to be this particular stamp set. It does not have to be any of the above. Just go with it. In fact, actually, I am changing the sentiment this time to bless your heart. I typically use the archival black just because I like being able to color over it and not worry at all about it smudging or anything of that nature. There's the sentiment. I'm going to just simply use my standard tape runner and adhere it to my black cardstock. Before I press it down, though, I am going to notice I didn't press this part down. I'm going to grab some ribbon and fold it down because it's really nice having a pull. It allows people to know what you're hoping they will do. So there's no particular length that it needs to be. Again, grab your glue dots. And I'm not too fussy about this. This is going to be underneath your cardstock. Nobody's going to see it. So I just put a glue dot on both sides and smush it on. Lift up this part that you did not press down and plop it under, and wow, you have your little tag ribbon. It's super quick, super easy. If you forget to do this before you press this all down, you can pry it back up, or you can staple it, or you can do a hole punch and thread it through. Really, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so now the way our card works is we want this to be in the notch, right? So we lay it down exactly where we want it. Then we open this up, grab some of our super heavy duty adhesive. Again, this is wider than this, so you don't want a ton. It just takes a tiny little bit. And the lower down here you put it, the more movement your track will have. Because we want them to have access to their gift card or their treat or a photo gift, you want it to have that play. Okay, and you just press it down, and lo and behold, this part works. Okay, so it's attached, it's solid. Go ahead and push that sucker back down to where you want it, because now we're going to put our other piece on the track so that we have our gift card holder. Some people will want to attach their gift card first. I don't think it's necessary. Truth be told, you can use a glue dot, which is super strong. I only do that on my demonstration one because I want my person that I'm gifting it to be able to remove my gift card without destroying the gift card holder, because I want them to love it so much that they use it again. So again, you just line this up, put it on the back side of this track, and voila, press it down. And let's go ahead and slide this closed and test this theory. And sure enough, it opens. It's gorgeous, super easy. So that's really the hardest part about this entire project. Then you need to attach this, but it has to not touch this in any way, or this will not move. Okay, so you could use the same super strong glidey kind of tape that we used, although I don't have any that thin. So I've been known to use just liquid glass or a liquid adhesive and wait for it to dry. I'm not doing that today. I'm just going to quickly show you. So I've got this so that it's not likely to touch. I'm going to slide this in and close it up. Oops, hang on. See? So, okay. So again, it's flipped up. I've tucked that behind and just squeeze it closed. And it's stiff, so making sure that this glides can be tricky. Making sure that it did not actually stick on the inside, again, can be tricky. And I got it stuck. Imagine that. So just pry it open and do it again until it's not stuck to what you don't want it to. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. So then once you've got it placed the way you want it, try it out. And if it still doesn't work, you can always remove this adhesive and try again. Because it's just kind of tricky. Not horribly hard, but it is tricky. So, let's see here. Let's do quick. There. So once you've got it where it moves and slides, then by all means proceed. You'll want to stamp your bee or whatever your decor is. I kept this with the scalloped edged circle, and I chose this particular mix-in because it reminded me of the honeycomb hexagons, and because I like the bee, I'm going to give it this cute little saying of be happy. Oop. And I'll change it on my little stamp chamois. Put that back. Then grab my bee. Stamp this cutie pie. Again, clean it with my stamp chamois. The biggest drawback about the archival black is your stamp stain. And so does your stamp chamois, but that's completely okay. It does not deteriorate the use of your stamp set or your ink. It just means that you've got fantastic stampage that's not going to bleed over. So, because I used the archival black, I can and will be able to color. I'm going to use a light gray and kind of just shimmer, gray up these wings a little. And then I'll use, and you notice I'm not paying that close of attention to how I color, okay? This is not super detailed coloring. I'm going to use the darkest of the light yellow blender and give my little honeybee some oomph because I think it's cute and it coordinates with my cranberry cardstock. And then because I like the shimmer look, I'm going to use my clear shimmer brush and after shaking it up, and I'm going to give the wings a little bit of iridescence. So just a real quick shimmer. Give it half a second to dry. If you see on this bee, I don't know, there it is. You can see that I added shimmer brush there and it really just gives it yet another dimension. So once it was dry, I went on ahead and curled up my honeybee's little wings a little. You could fold it with just your fingers, but using your bone folder helps give it more of a curve, like just a nice little C curve. And then I want to lift it off of the page just a little. So I'm gonna attach this little thing with some standard 3D foam tape onto my lacy little background doily kind of effect. And because I want it to be a little offset, I'm going to curve it and then place my bee where the little feet and the little bum just kind of ride nicely. And that is all there is to it. So I'm going to wrap up for now. I will be back at 1:30 with some card making, including a moving card. And good luck. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I will talk to you in 2 short hours. Have a great day.